everyone, welcome to my YouTube. I am going to do an instructed, like a vocally instructed yoga sesh for my friend because she has requested one. I'm not going to do anything too challenging. I'm lighting some incense. I do recommend, if you want to pause it, grab some incense or a candle. Ceremony is a huge part of my life. I always, if I'm going to do something important, light incense or a candle in order to do some intention settings. So my intention setting for this yoga sesh is that it would be easy to follow, relaxing, and that it would give my friend some grounding and some form of prayer, meditation, whatever she prefers to call it. So let me find a place for my incense and we'll get started. I'll try to keep my voice nice and loud so you can hear me. Okay, so I know a lot of yoga practitioners like to start seated, but I think I'm going to start standing. So let's start in Volcano Pose. We just put our arms up to the sky, plant all four corners of each foot into the ground and hold. Nice deep, audible breaths. Sometimes I like to shift around in the beginning of this pose just to throw my shoulders, upper back in. Maybe stretch my ankles and shift around a little, but ultimately we want to hold this pose. Feeling those feet plant down into the ground will help you ground your energy. Imagine your energy flowing down into the ground through the pose. And imagine nice light flowing into your hands from the top of the pose. Some people do this a little narrow. I like to make this pose nice and wide. And hold it. It is the holding of this pose that gives you benefit. Okay, now we're going to start up in a similar pose with the feet about shoulder width. We're going to reach up, and then it doesn't matter what noise you make. The noise that I make with this yoga pose is ha! And you just want to take all of the energy you have inside. Some yogis will even do this in a seated position, where you just throw any tension or excess energy you have with your voice out of your chest. And you just say, ha! Back up, and man, the first time I did this, so I was just like, ah! Because I just felt so tense. I was in a group setting, and I always feel more tense in a group. Ha! And that's mostly because I'm always noticing other people's emotions. Okay, now do a couple of stomps on the ground, okay? Moving the body around, shake the shoulders, just get your body moving, okay? Being aware of your body, do a little, like anything, literally anything. I don't care if you cha-cha, just ha. Okay. Now we're going to do tree pose, okay? It's kind of hard. It's not that hard though. We're going to start on whichever leg, and we're going to bring this foot up. Now you can hold it there. If that feels comfortable to you, that's good, okay? Or you can bring it further up and you can balance your foot on the inside of your knee and hold it. Your hands pressed together at your chest. This is another one you get benefit from if you hold it. Now let's say you're losing your balance and you're all over the place. If you lose your balance, take a moment and lose your balance. It's okay to lose your balance. I lose my balance all the time in poses, okay? You don't have to be like me where you're just like, all right, Cool. You can be all over the place in this if you feel like it. Lose the balance, lose the balance. Sometimes it's fun to try to regain it. And as you build up strength, you'll find out that your balance gets better as well. Sometimes I like to bend my knee a little bit into this pose. Sometimes I like to shift in my shoulders in this pose. And then sometimes I just like to hold it and feel my energy going down into the ground and feel nice light energy coming down into my head, even if you want to go, yay. Or sometimes I put my arms out, connect to my first finger with my thumb. Bringing your chest up to your prayer position hands. Don't sink down in your chest. No, bring your chest up, opening up your chest. I like opening up my chest because it reminds me to love things. Okay, bringing that foot down. Doesn't matter how many times you fell. Now bring the foot up and connect it to the inside of the leg. Hands in prayer position, chest up. Just feeling that nice line through the top of your head and your spine. You can even lengthen through your spine. If you lengthen through your spine, you'll actually find your chest naturally opening up, and it won't feel so like, it'll feel more like lengthening, receiving, lengthening. Okay, that's good. Now if you feel comfortable and you feel like you can extend your knee up a little more, sometimes I like to grab my foot and place it really high up in my hip, but connecting to the inside of your knee is fine. Bending that knee. No locking. Locking causes dislocations in the long run. Creating length in your leg that's on the ground. And creating length in your spine. Are you losing your balance? That's totally okay. Regather. Place back into the original position and hold it. You're losing your balance again? That's totally fine. Sometimes I'll lose my balance and I'll just be like, I meant to do that. That's the way my body wanted to go today. Okay, wonderful. Now we're gonna work in a seated position, So I'm gonna take the camera down a little bit so you can see me. Okay, so now when some people sit in lotus, they put one foot inside of their hip. So extend one leg out in front of you and put the top of your foot on the top of your leg. And then just kind of feel what that feels like. This is much easier for people who live in countries where they don't do the chair thing and this is how they sit. So that they're used to extending their knee out, they're used to sitting on their hip bones. So sometimes the sensation of being on your hips can take a moment. Okay? Now both legs out and take the other foot and connect the top of your foot to the top of your leg. I'm less flexible on that side. And just feel how that feels to have your knee extended out and your hip joint opened. Grounding yourself on both hips. You can even kind of shift around just to feel what that feels like. Okay, now to open up the hips more, connect the bottoms of your feet into the center. Bring them in as far as you can. And then they say to do this little flutter thing. I don't agree with bouncing your joints like that. That can be, for me, that's super injuring. But what I do like to do is kind of slowly and gradually press my knees down. I have scar tissue in my hips, so it does not press as far as other people. You might get your knees lower than me in this position. Yes. And then what I like to do, just to get even more space and more range of motion, is kind of shift from side to side, okay? And because of the leverage, you might get a stretch in your lower back next to your tailbone, and that feels so good. To get even more stretch around your tailbone, and this can help with pregnancy injuries, feet out in front of you, feet flat, and then kind of act like you're riding a tiny little bicycle. And shift, shift, shift. This can be done in a laying position too. I came out of a tailbone injury like this. I used to do it before I went to bed. So your one foot is pressing forward while the other's back. It's almost like you're riding a tiny little bicycle. Stretching the muscles around your tailbone. Getting some movement in there. You know, eventually if you stretch in your lower back enough, you can throw your pelvis in without any trouble whatsoever. Okay. Sit in lotus. If you can put both feet up into lotus, cool. Say I've done there and I've got both of my feet connected to the top of my legs. Let's say you've got one foot connected to the top of one of your legs. That's totally okay too. And let's say neither foot wants to connect. That's also all right. Sit in whatever lotus position is best for you. Okay, we're gonna put our palms up and take a moment just to connect and ground. Imagine energy flowing out through the bottom of your hips into the ground, from the tops of your legs and knees down into the ground. And imagine nice, holy, pure light coming in through the top of your head. Sometimes I even like to feel energy moving up through the ground, and then energy coming down through my crown chakra up here, and then kind of like gathering in my solar plexus and heart, kind of moving around in there. Now this is really good for your mind. Connecting your thumb, first finger, middle finger, ring fingers, and pinky fingers. Spread them out like this. Prayer position doesn't necessarily have to just be flat so that you're bracing. Prayer position can also spread the fingers. Can you see that? Yes. Okay? Spread the fingers apart as you connect those fingertips and bring those to your chest. Bringing your chest up to your hands. Kind of shifting around in that. Stretch your neck one way and then the other. Okay? Connecting your fingertips is very, very good for your brain. You can even do a crossing of meridians, which is also good for your brain, good for memory. So holding one arm and holding the other arm and do a little back and forth, little self-love exercise. Holding and supporting, loving yourself, and crossing those meridians. Crossing those meridians helps with memory, helps with brain function. If you ever see somebody crossing their arms in front of themselves and rocking, they are healing. Okay, now we're going to do some neck stretches. So palms up on the knees. You can also put them down if that feels more comfortable to you. I like up because it feels like I'm just bringing in, accepting, and loving when I have my palms up, because it makes me feel like I'm serving another. Okay, we're going to put your head all the way over. See how I'm stretching like that? My neck might go further than yours. I'm hypermobile in my neck. So if you're right here, that's totally good. Something that can help deepen this stretch is holding your shoulder down. So moving your head all the way like your ear's trying to touch your shoulder, and then bracing in your shoulder. And then something I even do is move that braced shoulder back. So I get a stretch down into my chest as well. And then something I also do in this stretch is lift my chest. And And they say always ear to shoulder. It doesn't have to be such a solid angle. You can go back with your head a little bit. You can open up your jaw and get a stretch into your jaw or into your throat. I like to roll back with your mouth slightly relaxed. Never clench your jaw and go back. That'll hurt. To the other side. Let your head hang, almost like gravity. Take a little bit of it. Some people like to do this brace with their hand. I don't prefer to do that. I think that's a hyperextension. I prefer to hold this shoulder down, bring my chest up, and get a full stretch. Like stretch your shoulder from the inside. And then your neck just happens to get a stretch. Oh. Okay, now we're gonna do some back rotations. This is Kundalini yoga. Okay, going around in big circles, and as you come around the front, breathe in. Breathe in the ocean. Breathe out the sky. Breathe in the ocean. Breathe out the sky. Nice audible breaths. Breathe in the ocean. Breathe out the sky. Now, a lot of yoga is really obsessed, breathe in the ocean, with getting a huge range of motion. Breathe in the ocean, breathe out the sky, keep going. But sometimes I like to take micro movements to see if I can get a stretch somewhere I need it. You can keep a straight back if it feels more comfortable to you. Sometimes I like to do a little bit of a cat-cow. Okay, let's go the other way. Breathing in the ocean. And breathing out the sky. Breathing in the ocean. Breathing out the sky. Breathing in the ocean. Breathing out the sky. Keeping that extension where you need it. I'm going to make my circle smaller. Breathing in the ocean. Breathing out the sky. Oh, and then what I'm finding is I've got a lot of tension in my shoulders. So maybe I'll do a little wiggle shoulder dance because I like to get that tension out of there so I don't get mad all the time. I notice I put my palms down. Sometimes I switch my palms when I do that. And then just taking a moment to feel the after effects of that particular tantric breathing Kundalini yoga pose. Or be considered a meditation. You can even cross meridians as you feel this to lock in that feeling. Awesome. Okay, now let's stretch our back. I'm going to do this from the side so you can kind of see it better. All the guys are going to be like, yeah, it's the good part. So palms flat on the ground. In our first version of this, feet, top of the feet flat on the ground, okay? Into what we call tabletop. Nice straight back. Okay, so now we're gonna roll down through the shoulders and then up through your back and let your hips turn all the way under. See how I have like an ugly booty? Yeah. And then get on your fingertips. When you go into the arch, when you go into cat, get on your fingertips. Put equal weight on your pinky as your thumb. You can come up in the arch and then switch it. And let your head hang. Like turn your hips under and let your head hang. You're still up on your fingertips. Okay, equal weight on all of those fingertips, same as the thumb on the pinky. Arching. And And while you're arching, you can even kind of like, I kind of rotate my ears in a little infinity symbol. Okay, back under. Back stretches up. Oh, let your head hang. When I've got my back arched up and I'm in the ugly butt position called cow, sometimes I'll even lift the tops of my feet off the ground and shift in my hips. Okay, because I'm gonna get even more leverage on my lower back. Okay, go back into the arch. You're still on your fingertips. Equal weight on all those fingertips. And then I'm gonna kind of just like shift around. Like, it's nice that these are your two extremes, but it isn't like this is a yoga pose and then this is a yoga pose. It's like all of this is a yoga pose. Okay, now we're gonna go palms flat on the ground, toes opening up into plank. Okay, kind of just hold this because it's good for you. It's strengthening. Give some leverage into your elbows. Don't lock like this, that's stupid. Make your arms kind of fluid. Go slowly down, flipping to the tops of your feet. And this is really good if you can go this far and move your head back and open up your chest. But let's say you're like, my lower back isn't that flexible. I'm not that kind of person. Go down. All right? Go down onto your elbows. And I get just as good of a stretch going down in my elbows that I do going up onto my palms. And you can even reach up onto your fingertips in this one. Back down to the palms, we're gonna go into child's pose. So you're gonna shift back onto your knees and then throw your hips back, like that. And you're gonna keep your hands forward. Let your hands drag like your hands are a dead part of you. And they're just being dragged by your hips, like this. To get nice and low into child's pose, put your forehead on the ground. And to decalcify your third eye chakra, since our water puts calcium into our pineal gland, you can even roll around on the flat part of your forehead on the ground. Okay, now we're gonna put our palms behind our feet and flip them toward the ceiling. See what I'm doing? And you can keep your head flat on the ground, but if you've got a prominent nose bridge like me, you might want to turn your head to the side. Okay, so this is a more graduated child's pose. Now, we're gonna do something really cool. Grab your heels with your hands and put the top of your head on the ground. And then pull your heels so you get an even more intense stretch in this position into what I would consider the front of your pelvis. Okay, now we're gonna transition. Widen your feet a little bit. And now we're gonna go up onto our knees like this. Grab your feet behind you and go into camel pose. And you can let your head hang back in this one. And this will get a huge stretch in your abdominals and your shoulders. Now, we're gonna go into hero pose. So we're just gonna slowly transition down. Sit between your knees. If you can bring your knees close together, that makes this stretch better. And put your palms on the tops of your legs. Sometimes this stretch can be super nauseating because it actually works acid out of your stomach. So it's okay to take a moment right here. I like to shift around in this one too, it feels good. Okay, now we're gonna go into downward dog. So start off at tabletop with your palms on the ground. And I like to hop up into it like that. And this is gonna be a really exhausting pose if you're new to yoga. But once you've been doing it for a while, this is actually a resting pose. And then I've seen people get to the point that their feet are so far behind them that they're kind of on their toes. So like you can shift around, see how I'm kind of like walking around in downward dog, like making it wider and making it less wide. And something to keep in mind in downward dog, just like when we went on our fingertips in cat-cow, is to keep the same amount of weight on your palms as you have on your feet. And also to have the same amount of weight on one side of your foot as you do on the other. So planting all four corners of both feet deep into the ground. And this is another wonderful opportunity to feel your body ground through your palms and feet. It's so nice. Sometimes I like to throw my weight back on my heels and kind of get a stretch between my shoulders and then go back into downward dog. You might be getting tired in this one. Give it another second. All right, now drop between your legs. Get a nice stretch down into your back and head. If you want to grab your elbows, this is a wonderful way to get even more stretch into your back. And sometimes I do what I named a yoga pose, I just call it the lazy monkey. And I freaking grab my elbows and just like sway from side to side. Like I put a lot of people's hips in with this one. Or you can let go of your arms and kind of like sway from side to side. Fluidity in your hips is super valuable. Or you can cross your arms and grab either leg. Even deeper stretch into those legs and into your shoulders. Oh my God, my whole back just went in. Okay. It's at this point that I think all the rest of my poses are way too advanced to do in one day. I will give you more in the future once you feel that you want some more. Again, I'm doing this by request, so, you know, this is for someone specific, but anyone can follow. And now we're going to do Savasana, which is my favorite pose. And that's where you just lay flat, okay? Lay flat on the ground. Bring your shoulder blades together behind you to open up your chest. Open up your hands. Let your feet fall to the sides or wherever they fall. And just chillax. You can do some present moment awareness, sound awareness, smell awareness, breath awareness, fingertip awareness. And now let go. Like any tension you're holding on to anywhere, let it go. That includes your mind. If you've got some tension in your mind, please let it go. Okay, now I would actually encourage you to stay in Savasana as long as you have time for. And continue to let go. Find tension in yourself and let it go. And I will be so happy to join you the next time I have a moment to record a session that's instructed. And we will do more difficult things next time.